What's up, everybody? 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and in this video, we're gonna ask the question, will you pull for JIHO? Coming out soon in Eversoul. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Alright guys, before we go ahead and get started with the video and asking ourselves, will you pull for JIHO, upcoming new character in Eversoul, I want to remind you guys that if you enjoy the content you see on this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, that way you're not missing out on future uploads, leave a like on this video, and comment down below what you think of this new upcoming character coming soon to Eversoul. So we finally have some data on what JIHO is supposed to be doing as far as her role in Eversoul as a character. And this is kudos to the Pridewin team over on pridewin.gg. They have some fantastic information on all of the things that you need to know about Eversoul, and they were able to translate some of the abilities that this character is going to be bringing to the table. Now, full disclosure, some of the numerical values is subject to change. So even though it is listed down here on the Pridewin site with a specific value, this is subject to change once the character actually comes out. But let's go ahead and break down what she does. So she is a human supporter character. She uses intelligence gear type, and she is going to be of the epic rarity. There's a lot of flavor on the character here, but I'll let you guys, read that on your own time on the Pridewin website. Again, highly recommend that you guys check that out. But let's go ahead and take a look at her skills, her main skills, her subs, all that good stuff. So we're going to start off with her ultimate, which is called Song of Radiance. She's going to be recovering allies by 250% of attack and also increasing their speed by 25% for 10 seconds. That's a pretty big increase, and I think right now that's actually a bigger speed increase than what Vivian gives to the team. But it only lasts for 10 seconds though, but still that's a pretty big speed increase. At the first upgrade, the speed increase is increased to 27.5% and recovery is now at 280, and then at upgrade 2, speed increase is now to 30%, recovery is changed to 310%, and you get an added effect where she silences all enemies for 10 seconds. That is huge. That is actually a very powerful ultimate. However, because it is a healing ultimate, generally, I, at least for myself, find myself using a lot of the more offensive ults because you want to be able to push offense as well. So I don't see myself personally pressing this button too much, but the effects is actually huge, especially if you get that upgrade level 2. That's a pretty significant ultimate ability there. But let's go ahead and move on to her main ability, which is going to be called Vulture Peak Assembly. So she's going to be increasing speed by 40% for 15 seconds and recovering the HP of the ally with the lowest HP by 380% of attack. If the target cannot recover HP due to the debuff effect, instead JIHO will cast a barrier that instead absorbs damage by 220% for 15 seconds. At the first upgrade, the speed increase changes to 45% and recovery is at 410%. And then at level 2 upgrade, speed increase is now at 50%. That's pretty massive. And recovery changes to 440% with the barrier absorption being changed to 280%. Thoughts on this skill? I think this is a match made in heaven for like a character such as like Jacqueline, who has a high damage output. She is an assassin, but she's extremely squishy. Like her defense is pretty bad. It's pretty low. So somebody like Jacqueline could definitely benefit from this main skill. And that speed increase, even with no upgrades, is huge. 40%, and then giving them that massive heal, that is insane. And then it says right there, if they have a debuff effect which prevents them from healing, then they get a shield. So that's a great ability. I really like that ability, especially that massive speed increase. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at her 2 subs. The first one is called Song of Eternity. This removes a debuff effect from all allies and also provides HP regen equal to 50% of JIHO's attack every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. At the first upgrade, it changes the heal over time to 55%, and then at level 2, it changes it to 60%, and the number of debuffs removed changes to 2. So this is a pretty cool, supportive skill. We've seen something similar like this before with some of our other supports, but you get the heal over time, which is nice, and you also get a cleanse on 1 debuff, and then it's 2 if you have her at a level 2 upgrade. Her second sub ability is called Frigid Winter. So this is actually a damaging skill. So she deals damage equal to 60% of attack, and also decreases the speed of the nearest enemy by 16% for 6 seconds, and this has a 4-meter radius with a 90-degree conical area. And then it also deals damage equal to 60% of attack every 2 seconds. So at the first upgrade, the speed decrease is changed to 18%, and the freezing damage changes to 65%. And then at the final upgrade, the speed decreases at 20%, with the freezing damage changing to 70%, and the effect duration is now increased to 8 seconds. A pretty cool ability, especially because she's mainly a supporter. I do like how she's decreasing enemy speed. So if depending on what's around her, it says the nearest enemy, this could potentially be life-saving, especially if you have like a really powerful characters, like really high damage dealer characters, for example, like Dora or an enemy Jacqueline, that's really pushing the offense against your team. And if this kicks off, that could potentially save you, decreasing their speed and also dealing damage every 2 seconds. And then finally, her passive is called White Blossoms Freeze to Bloom. So what this does is JIHO's normal attack is reduces enemy speed by 5% for 8 seconds, and this can stack up to 5 times, so that's 40%, which is pretty good. And then at first upgrade, the speed decrease is at -6%, and then at the second upgrade, the decrease is at -7%. So she's all about slowing enemies down. So if you're fighting a hyper offensive team, she really slows enemies down. And then finally, we have some data here on the artifact that you could get for her in the artifact banner. So it adds the effect Song of Eternity, which increases crit rate by 5% for 14 seconds. And then the values further increase up to 25% at the 6th upgrade. And the stats that are provided to her there is she gets attack, HP, more crit rate, and more crit damage. So with this data in mind, what are my overall thoughts on JIHO? I think she's actually a fantastic healer. She's great, I think, especially for human teams. For those of you that are lacking, a powerful healer, like let's say you don't have Catherine available, or you're having to rely on like Rose for the longest time. She would be a great pickup, especially if you feel gated with like the human gate whenever it's open, especially when you get to like the harder stages. I think she's great. I already mentioned that put her with Jacqueline, because Jacqueline tends to get melted pretty easily. If you use that main skill, she gets that massive speed increase, she gets that massive heal, and if there's an HP debuff, well, she's going to put a barrier. So overall, I think she's a great healer. She's a solid support. Now, will I myself personally pull for this character? For me, I'm going to be skipping initially because they did say, this was talked about in the Pride 1 server, but they did say that when JIHO comes out, she's going to be available across all banners. So she's still going to be available on the Mephi banner rate increase banner, on the normal banner, on the friendship banner. You can pull her with your tickets. So having that knowledge, I don't feel the need to super chase her. I also already have some of the really good healers currently out right now. Like I have Catherine, I have Talia. I even have Clara, who I think is super underrated. I've been using her recently because I wanted to kind of, synergize a little bit of teams around her. So I have healers that are already good. I think JIHO is great, don't get me wrong, but for me personally, I'm going to be skipping and not initially pulling when she comes out. I personally recommend her, let's say, to players that are lacking some good healers. Like, let's say you don't have Talia, although you can get Talia by just spending $1. So I think everybody at this point should hopefully have Talia by now. Or if you don't have somebody like Catherine for your human healers, great pickup right here. I think she's a great pickup. She could definitely help you out. But having that knowledge that she is going to be across all other banners, I would caution, just because we don't know what other characters are going to be doing once they release their kits. For example, for like Villana, you don't know how powerful Villana is going to be. And I think Villana is only going to be featured for a week, whereas JIHO is going to be featured for 2 weeks. So I think there's more incentive, at least overall, to just wait and see. But if you really like her, if you find her kit, if you find her overall look, very appealing, and you think she's going to be your waifu and all that stuff, then go ahead and pull. Because all in all, the most important thing is you're having fun, you're playing with your favorites, and you're just overall just using whoever you want. So that's going to be my take on JIHO. Hopefully you guys found this video useful and helpful in understanding what she's going to be bringing to the table. Again, full disclosure, all the values that I mentioned could potentially change once the character is actually live on Eversoul. So all those values, just take it with a grain of salt. But if you want to read it on the Pride 1 website, it is there. I highly recommend that you utilize that resource, especially if you want to understand the game more and understand team building and all the different characters and things like that. Well, this is going to go ahead and conclude the video. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for more Eversoul content and other content on this YouTube channel. Stay blessed, everybody.